Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you're watching Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Joining me, as always, is my co-host from the Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks podcast, Double OT Terrific Trav, and D. He had to go to Iceland. I mean, it's like he just went there, and he came back, and
he ain't come back yet.
What happened? I mean, I saw a blur, so it wasn't D. Then who was it? Was it Michael? Was it the reverse? Who was it, Trav?
It was D's, not D, but D's.
Oh, this guy. Nah, right. You're not getting me. And, joining us up here on today's episode are two people that, I've had, the pleasure of getting to know over the years. I had to think about it because it's like I didn't know if I wanted to say something nice because, I didn't forget what you guys did to me and Donnie Victor Griff. So it's like, I'm not one to hold grudges because Outkast said that you shouldn't hold grudges, but joining us tonight are the hosts of Geek Night Comedy at the Virginia Beach Funny Bone. That is Mr. Sid Bridges and Mr. Derek Williams. How you guys doing?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we are doing great.
What's up, Ben? How you doing?
Hey, but I'm doing awesome. I am doing great.
Let's get this out of the way before we get into it then. Okay, because like it's been a few years now since Derek and I
did what we did.
We did what we did. We did what we did at the Comedy Smackdown roast battle to the Golden Pinky Society. And, I always feel a little bit bad whenever I'm in a roast situation. And I also watch a lot of wrestling. So I know that, like, you could be perfectly fine right now. But, it could be like a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later. Suddenly there's a chair in the back of my head. So I just want to tell you.
Right, that's true.
Benjamin Banks, that I respect you and I love what you and Victor Griff are doing right now. You earned those VCW tag team titles that you currently hold, just like Derek and I earned the SmackDown tag team titles, which we still hold to this day.
Yeah, I mean, well, y'all came at us with everything when we had that battle a couple of years ago, and I know, like, when me and Griff, when we were getting ready for that, I was just like, man, I said, Griff, we probably gonna lose, man, because it's like we're going against two comedians, and when me and Griff won them, like, we were going against John Gilbert, who's really good, like, he's very talented, and then we were going against Bobby Hollywood, and I felt like Bobby Hollywood, he was kind of on me and Griff's level. Whereas, like, John, like, this dude is a monster. So it's just like, it's like that promo that Scott Steiner had cut. He was just like, you got a 50-50 chance of winning this. And me and Griff, we ended up winning. So before we start this interview, everybody that's watching, make sure that you like this video, you subscribe to the channel, and you hit that bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And if he was here, he would say that the podcast link is down below in the description. Like, follow, subscribe. And Trav, what's your tip of the day?
Tip of the day, man. Look, don't be walking in the comedy club expecting to take on the comedian champions right there. It ain't gonna end well for you.
It's not. I mean, like I said, they came with everything. Like, and Derek, his final joke, it was a picture of me.
Oh yeah,
cowboy hat on.
The cowboy hat with your purple on.
He said that you could carry your ass back down that Old Town
Road.
Like,
yeah.
I erupted, and I looked at Griff. I was just like, "This is it."
I mean, our intro to that was just. I was cooking pancakes at work all day, trying to do so we could do the New Day entrance. So, and I'm throwing pancakes into the crowd. We did the whole thing, and I did the entrance. And you guys were looking at us like,
hey, look, Trav, they was right. Hey, did anybody in the crowd, like, when you threw a pancake, did they open their mouth and was just like,
nah, they was catching them though. They was catching them.
If it makes you feel better, by the way, being a comedian does not make you a good roaster. Like you don't know until you get up on stage if you're good at roasting or not. And for some of us, it's a bit of a sickness. Like I found out the hard way I was good at it, and like. You find out who your friends are pretty quickly when you get up on stage and start telling the truth about them and get applause for it. So yeah, like, you didn't just go up against comedians. You went up against really good. I mean, Gilbreth also really good, although I should mention that he was part of the tag team. We defended him against at the last show.
I mean, apparently, Benjamin, you went up against the best. And
put yourselves over. I mean, like, me and Griff, we're the Virginia Championship Wrestling Tag Team Champions, and we're always letting people come and challenge us for our belts because they're not going anywhere. So if you guys want to step into the ring with us, we stepped into your ring, y'all stepped into our ring, and I really feel like y'all are going to be going against the best.
I guarantee you that if I stepped in the ring with you, that I would cry like a girl.
It would basically be a handicap match.
I got this.
I am at like sub Mike Von Erich levels of wrestling prowess here. So,
I've already had to step in for a fight that Sid Bridge almost got into. And let me tell you, that lady was pretty tough.
I did. Yeah.
And that is not a joke. That is not a joke.
I have material about that night. But yeah,
exactly.
Derek in the comics formed a human wall so that she wouldn't hit me.
So, we haven't had a episode in a while where we had two guests. The last time that we had two guests at the same time was when we had Brenna and Andrew up here, whose interview that you can check out. It is on the podcast, or you can watch the video up here on YouTube. So how we're going to do this thing is I always ask all of our guests, what is their origin story? And Sid, since you were the first one to join us before the interview started, I'll start with you. Tell everybody who you are. Every hero or villain has one. So let's hear who Sid Bridges is.
Oh, man. Well, I'm a lot of things. So I'm a stand-up comic, have been for around 11 years now. And that started because I was bullied a lot in high school. That's most of us comics have some kind of a depressing past that we overcome, and the humor comes out as a defense mechanism. So I think that that really contributed to the genesis of Geek Night to begin with. But also, actually, by day, I'm a corporate PR guy, and I also play bass for a band called Boca, the Band of Consenting Adults. So there are a lot of different origin stories for me, and I show up in a lot of different places with a lot of different hats on. But absolutely nothing compares to jumping on the stage, and nothing compares to what we do at Geek Night Comedy.
Nice. I like that. When you were saying that you have so many different origin stories, it made me think about the Joker, who is a comedian. You know what I'm saying? And I love that he has different origin stories for depending on who he's talking to and whatnot. And we still, to this day and age, don't know the Joker's real origin story. And that was one of the things that I loved about the Joker movie when it came out, was because we thought that we were getting the origin story, but then it's like we find out at the end of the movie that he was at the asylum the entire time. So everything that he said wasn't even real. And
it's malarkey.
So I got to tell you, though, like I run the open mic at Kazi's Comedy Club, which is the longest running comedy club in the state. And it is the premier open mic. Like it is the one that you go to get real comedy club stage time. And I'm playing hooky from it tonight to be on this, by the way.
Hey, I like that. I like that. We banned him, Trav.
That's right. And I am deathly afraid that every other week I am creating a Joker origin story by, putting somebody on stage or not putting them on stage or giving them the light earlier.
There you go.
So, and I want to say this real quick. Sid gives me real Steve Buscemi vibes, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've ever heard that before, but I'm getting real.
You're out of your element, Donnie.
Yeah, I get that every once in a while. I'll take that. I like Steve Buscemi.
Yeah,
before I grew the hair out, there were people that insisted I looked like Brad Paisley. So
I could kind of see that. You said it.
And then then I grew the hair out, and I've been doing a joke about this. I did a show a couple months ago, and somebody was like, "It's White Snoop Dogg," and I'm like, "Oh, all right." I guess that's a huge compliment. I'll be your white Snoop Dogg.
There you go.
Yeah. I mean, but I can see it now. I mean, like I never would have, put two and two together, but now I see it. So, Derek, same for you. Like, what is your origin story?
Oh man, I am. I've been here for a long time, but my whole origin is just video games. That's all I would ever do when I was a kid. Video game this, video game that, computer this, programming, making my own games, doing all sorts of stuff, and video gaming it up. Then got into fixing games, and I've been doing that for the last 20-something years, and still do it now. I own like 20-something arcade machines that are, they're all downstairs. They're all right downstairs. So, all around the garage. So I'm just this big nerdy geeky repair guy that loves video games. So
now
go ahead, Trav, because I was just about to pass.
I was gonna say now Derek probably don't remember young Trav, but and I don't want to date you,
Oh snap!
But because we're all still young at heart. But little youngster Trav used to walk in the cyber station all the time where Derek was managing. And, I used to play my initial D, my Wang and Maximum Midnight Tune. Huh?
I said, you still got your cards?
I still got my card in my old wallet that I got. I do.
Wow.
I drove a Mitsubishi GTO twin turbo. And, we always used to get together, play In the Groove. Everybody bring like their own songs that they made on the flash drive.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, if you want to fully understand Derek's geek credentials, by the way, I had him on my podcast, Reels and Wheels, which is about car movies. And Derek said that he learned how to drive manual transmission with that initial D machine.
No, it was not initial D. It was hard driving.
A hard drive.
Hard driving.
Because initial D, and that doesn't have a real stick shift on it.
Yeah,
hard driving, the old hard
down.
driving game has a simulator stick that gives you I think it's 4 gears or 5 gears. But yeah, I learned how to drive on that.
Yeah, it's crazy that you say that because with Flipper McCoys, when they used to be over by Military Circle Mall, one of my good friends, Derek, I don't know if you know him, his name is Jamel Martin, and he used to always be up in the arcades. He was either playing Dance Dance Revolution or Tekken.
Okay.
And
I'm sure I know him, man.
When I was trying to learn how to drive, he would just be like, yeah, just play. It was some off-road game at Flipper McCoy's, and he was just like,
oh, really?
Just practice on that. Just drive slow,
Is it Off-Road Thunder?
Yes, Off-Road
Thunder.
Yeah.
I used to play the shit out of Off-Road Thunder.
and that's like, honestly, that's how I learned how to drive, man. I mean, Grand Theft Auto as well, even though you don't have a steering wheel and whatnot, but Grand Theft Auto, it helped me out a little bit. Like it's just so
not
cool
at all. It didn't help you at all.
It did help me out, because I was one of those type of people that played Grand Theft Auto. I would stop when the light was red, and the people will blow their horns at me or start shooting at me. I'm just following the law here.
Like a citizen, damn it.
Yeah, I'm just trying to be a citizen. Why am I getting shot at? But it's just funny how, to piggyback off of, something that Sid was saying, growing up and, using comedy as a way to, get out of real world. Like that's how I was when it came to video games, like going to you there, where it's just man. The things that we enjoyed as kids are the things that make us into who we are today. And I just think that it's really cool what you guys are doing with Geek Night Comedy, because I remember the first time I had went to it, Tim Lulis had invited me to it. And, shout out to Tim Lulis, because he was the person that, got me into, getting into comedy and whatnot, when he had his comedy school, which they're taking classes for right now. And, I came to, Geek Comedy Night, and I was just like, yo, this is awesome. It's awesome that it's a comedy night for nerds, and the jokes that you hear are like, jokes that if you're a nerd, you'll be able to really appreciate. Not saying that you wouldn't be able to appreciate it if you went to like the comedy roast battles, because like those roasts, like they're good, man. Like you guys are really good at what you do. I mean, me and Griff, we was up there, we was telling jokes. The best way I can compare it is there was a Fresh Prince of Bel-Air episode where DL Hughley was up there, and Will thought that he was funny because like he joked Uncle Phil and Carlton all the time, and DL was just like, no, like you're just at home funny, you're not comedy funny. And Will went up on stage and like it was just crickets the entire time. And that's how I feel like when it comes to these roast battles, because we did win I'm not going to take anything away from me and Griff, because we did win the comedy tag team titles, but it's just like there's a difference from like professionals like you guys compared to amateurs like us. And like I said, you guys, y'all kill it every time that y'all are on stage, whether it's doing comedy or doing roasting. So the next question that I wanted to ask, and I'll start with you, Sid, is which one do you prefer doing more? Do you prefer roasting people and hurting people's feelings, or do you prefer just going up on stage, have the open mic, and tell a few jokes to lighten up the crowd?
I will say I definitely prefer doing straight stand up to roasting. There's nothing that quite matches that. I mean, for you, it's probably just like when you go in the ring and you get like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever, for a good match, and like every spot you hit, boom, like if you hear the crowd pop, and it's the same thing with comedy. You wrote those jokes, you worked really hard on that, and every time you nail it and you get a punchline, and they laugh or they applaud. Like, it's just one more shot into the, they get boom, boom, boom. It just, there's nothing like it in the world. I mean, I just got back from the Funny Bone. I got to do 10 minutes out in front of Ian Bagg, and that was just unbelievable. Just to get one little taste of that kind of attention. Most people don't like being on stage like that and getting that attention, but that is the thing. Roasting, I feel dirty when I do it because I'm good at it. I feel like, and I feel like it's a sickness almost. I mean, like every once a year, I'll do a special thing for the open mic people on my open mic, and I'll roast everybody on the open mic, and a lot of them look forward to it. Some of them actually quit comedy after that, but like, I mean, they, it's like it's a badge of honor, yes, but it's awkward. It's a lot of pressure. I mean, it's a competitive situation, and you have
Sid gets really serious, and it's really funny. One of the funniest things he does is he would go on stage, but then he would take his yarmulke off, and everybody just like, oh snap, like he took it off, so like no rules right now. Like he took the yarmulke off, and
I was a fully Sabbath observant Orthodox Jew for like 20 years, and I started doing comedy while that was going on. And then the first time I did one of those roast battles, I took the yarmulke off and I just stuck it in my back pocket. And I was like, God's not going to sanction what I'm about to do. The moment I said that, the round was over. Like the guy was up against had nothing.
Yeah.
What about you, Derek?
I like doing roast stuff because it's just fun to just mess around. To me, it's nobody means anything by it. I remember when I did one of the earlier ones on the stage, and I remember it was me and a dude named John Small. John Small, we go back and forth. We've been doing jokes. I think he moved to Canada or something like that. But anyway,
he's amazing.
At the time, and I don't know, maybe you can probably cut this part out. I don't know if we can keep this or not, but it was when he was a comedian. He killed somebody. Blah, 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 blah. Anyway, so in my roast with that guy, I said,
oh God.
I said, this guy, John, is a backstabber. I said, if I wanted to get stabbed in my back, I would hang out with Jay, blah, blah, blah. And that was the dude that killed. And the audience didn't get it, but all the comics got it. And it just hit so hard with them. I lost, but I didn't care because it was fun to do that bit to make them laugh, and it was
pretty
great.
Ballsy
and
of you
even
too.
John, even John was just. And after we got off stage, we were like, and he was telling me, "Hey, I'm glad you did that joke because that was the one I was hoping I would be able to ping off of when I had this written down." So it's like we did our thing. It's just like like wrestling. It's like you do your match, you do what you do in the ring, and when you get off stage, you're just like, "Hey, man, that was good." You're just chatting away. So I like doing roast, but I really love doing the stand-up stuff. Like I like writing a bunch of stuff down and just getting it on stage and making people laugh and being able to tweak it here and there. And I love doing that. That's like really fun because I just feel like I'm doing something and I'm giving that to somebody, and it's making somebody enjoy what I'm doing for them because I like making people enjoy themselves. So I love writing jokes and getting the jokes out there and getting the people to laugh. So I just enjoy that. So
I feel that. And to piggyback off of both of you guys, like something that I always say whenever we're interviewing voice actors and whatnot is because some of the voice actors that we've interviewed, like they've done improv or they've done stand-up comedy, and I'll always mention that there's a huge difference when you're on the microphone in the middle of the ring and you're cutting a promo, and either the crowd is going to be cheering for you or booing for you. Stand-up comedy is a whole different beast because it's just like you're standing in front of a room full of people, and either they're going to laugh at you or they're not going to laugh at you. And the worst thing that I feel as a comedian that you can do is like tell some jokes and they don't hit, and then you have a time limit, and it's just like, man, I got to sit up here for another 5 minutes. Yeah, just trying to tell jokes. And I mean, and you see that in some of the comedy movies. What was the movie I watched recently? Funny People. When they would go on stage, and it's just like, nothing's hidden. Or I mean, even going back to the Joker movie, when Joker was on stage and he was telling jokes and nothing was hidden, like people just thought it was just lame. So Trav, I want to pass the ball to you to ask the next.
I was gonna ask for y'all personally, since y'all been doing it so long, what separates the people that quote unquote make it and travel and become a bigger name in stand-up versus people that maybe just never leave the local scene?
I would say I think there are like variables that determine how it's going to work. If you got a comedian and he's single and he's able to put in the work to go travel and do what he needs to do, he'll be able to build. But someone like me, I have a day job. I can't afford to just go pick, I got kids to pay for, so I can't get out as easily as somebody who's single can. And I have obligations, and so I have to take care of that stuff. So it just depends, really. So it depends on the person. So
yeah, I think to just add to that, it's a grind, and wherever you are in life, the way I see it, I set my own personal goals, and I'm happy where I am. And fame can be random, so somebody could catch you set one day, and we could blow up. But if you really want to succeed, anybody can do it. I will say that anybody can do it. We watched, I don't know if you've seen Leonard Dudes perform before, but that kid, I watched him before he was 18, started coming to open mics here. And he basically, I don't want to say bluff, but he had the right kind of chutzpah to just kind of, push his way into bigger and better shows. And he was like Derek said, he was single, young, so he just went for it. Went to New York, slept on couches, and just didn't take no for an answer. Put in the work. We've got other friends here who are also catching on, who just network like crazy, get to know people. That's the great thing. I mean, I got to work with Ian Bagg 20 minutes ago. Like you get to meet these people. If they love you, then they remember you. And then, if you're in another town or something, you can get on a show. So you can make it. It's not unattainable, but it just depends on.
It is dependent on who you talk to, because there's a lot of people out there that, somebody might have a hookup. Like literally, I had this show in North Carolina, and this was like a month and a half ago. My friend Hatton got us that gig. It was with another guy named Wolfie. And we did that gig. It was a charity gig. And then we did that gig. But Wolfie lives in Pennsylvania. So then he hooked us up with a gig that was up in Pennsylvania. Mm-hmm. So it was like we did that gig and we networked with him to help get another gig. So we both, helped each other out, get gigs. And then also the person who we did the other show with, a charity show, they were like, hey, we want to, we have this network of people that we have, and we have these groups, and we have these places where we perform these events. And so if you can come do these, so it just depends on who you talk to. So there's a lot of
also comedians are kind of put in 4 buckets basically. There's open mic, comic, host, feature, headliner, and each one's kind of commensurate with the amount of money you'll make. So open mic, you're not making anything. You're just going doing free shows left and right to try and get some money. Host, you're the guy who's warming up the room for 8 to 10 minutes and then bringing on the other acts, and you'll make maybe $50 a show or something like that. And then feature and headliner, depending on the room, you can make as little as $150 for doing 30 minutes up to whatever the cap is. But so if you have the capability of living lean, then you can go around and try to, it's hard right now with gas being expensive, but there are guys who'll go around and just drive and get, $200 here, $300 there, and catch as many rooms as they can. So, I mean, it's just going to take a lot of time, putting in all the work and time. That's really what's going to, get you in there. So
like comedy is kind of similar to wrestling, where it's just like you said, you're doing all this traveling and whatnot. And it is about who you know and networking with the right people and whatnot, because, sometimes you can travel to a different area, and like you said, gas is expensive, and sometimes like getting a room may be expensive, and a lot of times wrestlers, like, they'll just crash at another wrestler's house, so that way they don't have to pay for a hotel room and whatnot. And like usually like that wrestler, like they'll put them on somewhere, and that's what it's supposed to be. It's like you're supposed to network, and everybody is supposed to grow together. And sometimes it's like that, but it's still a cutthroat business, and comedy, I'm sure it's the same.
Everything's like that.
It's funny you should mention that, because you mentioned Tim Lulis earlier, and Tim, actually, when we first started Geek Night, he was one of our partners. He had to get out because he had a lot of stuff going. He's always got a lot of stuff going on. But Tim, Tim obviously works VCW as an interview, as a personality, and he's a stand-up comic. So we talk all the time, and Tim and Derek and I, and he's always telling us that the same kind of personalities are in wrestling that are in comedy.
Yeah.
I can match. Like, you tell me there's somebody who acts like this, I can match him up with somebody who I know who does comedy, does the same stuff.
Yeah. So next question that I have, I want to start with you, Derek. Like, who were some of your comedy inspirations that inspired you to, want to get into comedy?
Oh yeah, man. Well, so I mean, a lot of people say the same people, but I know why they say the same people. But I mean, I grew up watching a lot of comedy and listening to a lot of comedy and sneaking my dad's tapes of his Richard Pryor tapes. So Richard Pryor, obviously, Bill Cosby, Eddie Murphy, George Carlin, and then there was a whole bunch of people that came up. They had the Robert Townsend Partners in Crime, where they had all these different comedians on that, and they had Comic Relief, Robin Williams, Whoopi Goldberg, and they had all these different things. So, yeah, those are some of the ones that I like. Current ones. Oh man, it's so hard to name some. I mean, it's just Hannibal Buress, of course.
Right.
Godfrey, of course, but that's my buddy, so I have to mention him. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, but there's a lot of comedians that are still up and coming. So, I mean, I'm gonna see who else is still out there and try to, check them out and see what they're doing.
Network with them. What about you, Sid?
I got a network.
So I used to stay up late at night, and I would turn on HBO or USA Network and watch those young comedian specials back in the late 80s, early 90s. And that was those guys were kind of not so heard of yet guys that it was easier to get on TV back then. So you'd see some comics just coming up that were just amazing, like David Spade before Saturday Night Live, or Richard Jeni and Dennis Miller and all these other just this whole generation of Wendy Liebman just coming on these shows, and you never know who you're going to see. I watch Evening at the Improv every once in a while. It's in a basement in New York, and these guys are performing for 20 people, and it's wow, this is amazing. I just watch over just everybody. I mean, I had to look up. I caught an old set from one of those specials because there's a guy in, I think it was the movie Dumb and Dumber, who's waiting outside a phone booth, and he's getting really impatient. And he's like, have you heard of a concept called Other People? And the hitman turns around and punches him through the phone booth. That was a stand-up comic that was on one of those specials, and it was amazing. So yeah, I will watch all that stuff all the time. I still for me, it's guys like Steve Martin and Eddie Murphy and all the classics that were, that really kind of shaped my brain. And then just all kinds of other outlandish humor. I almost wore my Bill the Cat shirt tonight because Bloom County was my go-to for when I wanted to laugh. I have all the books, but yeah, that really spurred me onto it, and I spent a year and a half writing before I even stepped on the stage. Just
how much time I spent writing before I stepped on stage? About 15 minutes. I didn't have any material.
Well, I thought it was going to be the opposite. I thought you were about to say 15 years or something.
No. I actually this is part of my origin story as far as getting into comedy. The first time I did comedy was at Kazi's. That's my home spot. And I remember I went and I was just trying to get out of the house to go do something. So I was like, let me get out of here. Let me go do this. Open mic. Let's go do that. Let's try it. I want to try to get on stage. Let's see if I can be funny. Went there. And apparently the open mic was doing 2 open mics. They only did it once a week. So they said, well, we have another one coming up next week. So then I was like, all right. But before I even went in, I had spent 15 minutes writing material before I went in. So I used that material from that first week, and it took that with me the second week, and then tried it all out. And it was 5 minutes of and just one guy courteous laughing for me. So right in the front, just give me courtesy laugh. So it was horrible, but I stuck with it and I got good at it. So
no, that's crazy because they could go either way. You could be like, all right, well, I'm not doing that again. Yeah. It's so easy to do that too, because it's so uncomfortable. Yeah. I want to ask you guys, because I like to go through my Instagram reels and watch other comedians dealing, because I love stand-up comedy. So I love watching other local guys that maybe don't have a huge name. They don't have specials. Mm-hmm. But they got a good social media following, so they got a ton of reels of stand-up routines. But a lot of it's them dealing with hecklers. And I always love heckler situations. And, since y'all are so good at roasting, how do y'all deal with hecklers? And do you have any super funny heckler stories where you just put that motherfucker in their place?
Dang, Trav!
You take that one, Sid.
I dropped the F-bomb.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you guys don't curse on here?
Hey, everybody gets one, but
everybody gets one.
Oh, okay.
Okay. There's a couple ways I can come at this. First of all, just as a public service announcement, as comedians, we cannot stand hecklers. Like that is
one
of the crazy like you know, as a professional wrestler, I know you understand, like every once in a while you get a piece of gold, somebody will yell at you from the crowd and you'll snap back at them and it'll be funny or it'll be in character or whatever. But when you're on stage, that is your time that you're getting paid for. You're getting a very short window and you don't want to give that away to somebody in the crowd. And it's the only profession I know of where people think, like, I have talked to people about going to shows and they're like, oh yeah, I got to brush up on my heckling. Like, no, you don't.
I got to brush up on my heckling.
Shut up and laugh. All right. So my first goal when somebody starts heckling is to shut them down. And I mean, I have done that like decisively. I don't necessarily insult them, but I will firmly, maybe even a little curiously, but firmly like stop them. And you can ask other comedians, and they've seen me, and especially in hosting situations where I have ended heckling. But on the flip side, yes, every once in a while, you just say the first thing that pops into your head when that person heckles you. But you have to, Derek can back me up on this, you have to constantly be thinking. You have to look at that person and size them up immediately. If you make a joke about them, are they going to keep going or are they going to shut up? Is it a big dude? Is it a drunk dude? Is it a drunk bachelorette party? There's some situations you cannot win. So it's science, honestly. And you know, it might look like an off the cuff situation, but believe me, we spend a lot of time. Some comics write great jokes to kind of divert it. The other thing is we control the energy in the room. So if somebody over here is heckling and they're not going to shut up, then I'm going to divert the show over to the other side of the room and start, you know, pushing that. And then if it gets too bad, if I've got a bouncer, I'll throw a signal at him like, hey, I think this guy's ready to close his tab. And then, you know, Derek mentioned the situation where that woman was ready to punch me. She was at my open mic and was talking all night and acting obnoxious, and I had her kicked out. And that's why she was getting ready. And she was some kind of Arab and I was a Jew, and she thought that was the reason.
Right.
So it could have gotten ugly, but yeah, that stuff happens. I don't know, Derek, what did you do?
What do you mean? What did I do?
Well, what's your, like? I don't know. I never hear heckling stories with you. Like,
I don't do. So I avoid hecklers. I just don't. I don't want to. I, like you said, don't give your time away to these people. Anytime a heckler comes to me, I'm just like, as soon as I hear something, I don't even pay attention to it. I just look at a different direction. I just keep talking louder. And
I was doing like a Sunday show at Kazi's. I was closing it. I was like doing 20 minutes. And a whole table full of friends of mine showed up, and one of them heckled me. And without even thinking, I turned around and insulted the hell out of this guy. And the room just erupted in laughter. And
did he take it personally?
The dude shut up, and I did it without thinking, and then I thought about it for a second. Then I turned around and I said, "Oh, I just ended a friendship," and they got another laugh for that. And yeah, I didn't actually end a friendship that night, but sometimes you gotta, you know, you just gotta do what you have to do.
I've had funny heckle stuff. I mean, I kind of improv it, so it really depends. So, but it's really hard to nail down a heckle that I've had to deal with where, I mean, mine is usually just shut the, you know, up something, or I'll say, I guess I'll improv it most of the time, but I don't remember. A lot of times I'll do it and I don't remember what I said, but I remember everybody was laughing about it. It's like, all right. Because it's not like I'm going to use it again. So
right.
Yeah, I know
it was specific to the situation that I was in, so doesn't apply to anything else. But yeah,
Sid, you were saying like when it comes to wrestling, like I mean, I really haven't dealt with a lot of hecklers in wrestling. I do know that I was at a show one time where like there were some kids saying some stuff about me.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't, you know, when I'm in the ring, especially, you know, tag team and stuff like that, you know, it's just go. Like I'm in my, you know, in my rhythm and whatnot. So a lot of times I'm just listening to people cheering and whatnot. I'm not listening to, you know, some guy, you know, like trying to insult me. And it was some kids and some of my friends, they was just like, yeah, like they were saying like all this stuff and everything. So, you know, after the show, I went and I shut the kids down. And like after that, It was like, I remember the security guard that told me, he was just like, yo, we need you to be here like every weekend, so that way you can shut these kids down. Like we need you to be like the drill sergeant that you will see on Maury, and you know, just put these kids in their place. And like,
Bank scared this kid, man.
Yeah, I destroyed the kid. I mean, oh well. I mean, he should have said what he said. So it's like I understand, Derek, where you're coming from, where it's just like, you know, you don't want to give people your energy, and then at the same time say it like you're saying, it's just like if somebody only has 5 minutes, and then it's like you dealing with a heckler, and it's just like you just gave that heckler 3 minutes of your time. It's just like you can't tell all the material that you have. And it same thing with wrestling too. There's times where you'll have 10, 15 minutes, and then they'll say, all right, your match got cut, you only got 5 minutes. And it's just like, okay, well, now you got to go out there and just do the best that you can do. And, you know, I don't know where I was going with that, but it was just the time windows and stuff like that I was thinking of. So, you know, now I wanted to bring up Geek Night Comedy. So I want to know now, like, what was the thought process that went into wanting to create this event?
Oh, let me take that.
There you go.
Yeah, I remember this like it was 10 years ago. And as a matter of fact, our 10-year anniversary hit during COVID. So this is really kind of like our 10-year anniversary show.
It's 10 and a half. 10.1.
So I was still kind of, you know, open mic comic at the time, and my geekiness was showing through every once in a while, and I would do a really geeky joke. And I wrote like some really geeky jokes, and every once in a while the ring would crush. A lot of times it wouldn't. A lot of times people just kind of check out on that. And I had one night where it really crushed. I think Derek was on the show. I can't remember. It's all a blur. But the next morning, I messaged Derek and I messaged Tim, and I was like, what if we did a show like that was just all geek jokes? And then and Tim was like a ball of energy. Like he went straight to the funny bone and got them to pick it up. And Derek just, you know, jumped right on board because he is the geek in town. Like he is the most geek cred in the whole comedy community and the greater area. Like he is the man. So it came together pretty quickly. And then suddenly we also had this critical mass, like the whole 501st Legion jumped in to help promote it. We did like a photo shoot with them, and we got some press coverage because I'm a PR guy, so I was able to pull some in for the first show. And the next thing we knew, there we were in the Funny Bone with this huge crowd of geeks. And we get up there on stage and we tell those jokes. And the deeper the references go, the louder the laughs got. It was like nothing we had ever done before, nothing we ever performed for before, nothing we would ever get again. I mean, it was so perfect. Like it was the best crowd you could ever ask for. So, and the Funny Bone was super happy. So we got, you know, regular return shows there. Every time we got to take it to
on the road. Yeah, you did it in DC, at Comic-Con, the DC Comic-Con. We did it up there. We did it in Orlando.
Orlando Improv. Yeah. So we've taken that show all over the place just because we had this idea. And I mean, Derek will tell you that there is nothing like performing on a Geek Night show.
I remember the first time we did this show, we were sitting in the sound booth because we were setting up our music or whatever, setting the sound booth up and whatnot. We're sitting in there, and then people are waiting in line to get inside to go sit down. And there's a line of people. And I remember we were in the sound booth and we hear these people saying, I'm trying to get a new power supply for my Super Nintendo because one of my controllers broke. So they're just talking about their game system thing, the thing that they're standing in line talking about, having a conversation. I was like, this is the people. I just got Star Fox from up. I was like, so it's like, these are the people that we want.
I mean, I had this joke I wrote for hosting where I mentioned Star Trek 3 at the beginning, and I talk about, you know, how the USS Grissom gets blown up, and the you know, how the saucer section is separated from the secondary hull by nothing. There's no pylon in the middle. It's just the nacelles. And then like everybody's like, what are you talking about? You know, like a regular crowd, they're checking out. I'm like, right. Bothered by that? How they get from the top to the bottom? So, and then I'll just call it back. Like every couple comics will come up and I'll be like, well, you know, that, and I'll reference it somehow. And slowly, like a regular audience will slowly start to laugh a little bit more. That the night I did it at Geek Night, it was like roaring all over the place. And then when I started explaining how they actually access via Jeffrey's tube to the secondary hull from the primary hull, they just laughed like even harder. Like that was like, I couldn't tell that joke anywhere, you know? Like
absolutely not.
Yeah, but,
I would. I mean, one of those. I still do it. I'm not gonna lie. The stuff that I do at Geek Night is the same material I do on a regular show, and somehow I can get it to work. I don't know what I'm doing, but it's just really weird.
I think it's just your persona. I think that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, they get it. They get why I'm saying it. So, and it's, you know, so I guess it just works.
Yeah, because I know I was at Kazi's because that's where they had sent us for because we had such a big class, so they sent half of us to Kazi's and then they sent the other half to Cinema Cafe out Greenbrier. And I remember you were on stage telling your jokes, and it's just like the crowd, like they were laughing, and it was nerd jokes. Like you were telling regular jokes too, but me as a nerd, like I was just like, man, like I think that this is hilarious. So it's like that's the reason why I like Geek Night, because being a nerd and then being surrounded by a bunch of other nerds, it's just like we'll be able to get those references that the normies wouldn't be able to understand.
Normies.
So I did want to say that because of Geek Night Comedy, I'm going to be there representing Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, and I'm going to be hosting a cosplay contest. And pretty much it's going to be for anybody that's over the age of 21. It is August 28th at 7 p.m. And all you have to do is just buy a ticket and come there in your best cosplay. It has to be handmade. It can't be store-bought. And masks aren't allowed, right, guys?
We they don't think they like masks being on.
They don't like something to cover your face.
Better to avoid that.
The other masks,
Yeah,
the other masks.
You can wear the face mask, but you can't.
Don't be showing up dressed like Obito. You know what I mean?
Yeah, or Green Goblin or something. But if you want to dress up like Green Goblin, just put on some face paint. But first prize,
tuxedo mask. You can come as tuxedo mask.
Come as tuxedo mask, but first place they win $150 gift card, and then second place they win a $50 gift card. So there's going to be prizes, there's going to be fun, there's just going to be a room full of nerds and geeks and all that other good stuff. So I just wanted to touch on that because we're getting close to the end of the interview. And Trav, did you have another question that you wanted to ask before we wrap this thing up?
And before you get that question in real quick, I just want to make sure that we mentioned that Immortal is sponsoring this cosplay contest, and Kevin Bianchi, who is the founder of that, it's an MMA and entertainment company. He's providing the gift certificates, and he's going to be one of the judges as well. And so big prizes there. And also, by the way, every show we raffle off prizes from Atlantis Games and Comics, and the raffle money goes to 100% support our chosen ALS charity, which is the ALS Association.
Nice.
Yeah. Oh, and then one other thing I want to throw in there too, the third Pharaoh, professional cosplayer locally here in the area, he's going to be joining as a cosplay judge as well. And you can actually check out his interview. I interviewed him on Who's That Cosplayer. The video, it is up here on YouTube. So Trav, take it away.
Now I'm gonna roll my question into our closing because it's similar, so I'm gonna combine it.
Okay, so do you want me to go ahead and start off with what D usually asks?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So D was here. D, he usually asks his famous final two questions for each of our guests, for our guests. But the final question that I'm going to start off with, and then Trav, he's going to take the other one away, is what is one of your favorite horror movies or something that scared you as a kid? It could be a doll. It could be, staying at a creepy house or something. Starting with
both.
music. Oh, okay. Well, Derek, you go ahead and take it first, and then Sid will come back to you.
Yeah. Okay. So my favorite horror movie is Poltergeist. I love that movie. It scared the crap out of me as a kid, and I loved it. But I tell you what movie scared the crap out of me. I don't know if you've seen it. You probably have. You love horror movies. The Stuff.
Oh, yes.
I have not seen it, but I've
seen The Stuff. Oh my God.
The Stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Stuff, it's like
please explain this for people that don't
kills
know.
People. Yeah. But they had a scene in the movie where there's a wall and this kid is somebody's walking towards the wall, and the wall is the stuff, and it comes down at him. And it made me so scared to walk up my steps to go to my room, because that every time I would think of that scene, I kept thinking my wall in my house is going to flood me. I'm going to get killed by the stuff.
For listeners that don't know it, it's pretty much a ripoff of The Blob.
The Blob,
it's white creamy stuff.
And they start selling it, and then it infects people's brains. And
The Blob was about a different subject matter. Like, The Stuff is about corporate greed. It's
right.
It's a satire. It's brilliant. Yeah, go watch it.
What about you, Sid?
Favorite horror movie easily got to be Evil Dead 2. I'm a huge fan of Bruce Campbell, and that movie was like a game changer for me. That was like one of the coolest things I've ever seen. Legitimate scare, probably was way too young to be watching Day of the Dead the first time I watched that one.
Wow.
And that one is just so like claustrophobic and like a little bit of body horror when it comes to what they had to do to survive. Like they just went like a step and a half beyond, and that sticks with you, man. That's a bleak movie.
Okay. All right, Trav.
Okay, we ready? All right. So it's hard for me to name my favorite, but typically we always talk about 80s and 90s movies, but for me, I kind of want to change it up a little bit since y'all are stand-up comedians. What is one comedy special that just has always really, really stuck with you? As it might not be your favorite, but it's the one that you're like, this might be the best stand-up special of all time.
Okay.
You mean like a TV or just a stand-up album? Like a stand-up album, or
it could be an album too. Sure.
Okay.
All right, so if there's one that I listen to over and over again, and at the risk of making me sound like a hack, because the special is bad, the special is one of the most amazing ones ever recorded, and the problem is that I listen to open mic comics emulated over and over and over again, but Mitch Hedberg's CD recording.
You know, that's so wild, because I was going to bring him up after y'all said your stuff, because I think he's like massively underrated. And it's a tragic story, you know, his career, but God, he's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
So good. And he's a great example of a comic who struggled. Like his delivery, his style of writing didn't always catch on. As a matter of fact, that CD is edited. Like if you watch, you know, if you see the full special in context, it wasn't always like, you know, it sounds like boom, 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 laugh a minute, but the jokes are so brilliant, and his delivery style was so unique at the time that there was nothing like it. And that's one I have. Like I have it on my phone saved there, and it's mixed in with, and I'll listen to it just over and over.
I was gonna say, because that's like the first half of his Comedy Central Presents is crickets until the crowd finally starts catching on, and then when his set's supposed to be over, he's like, "I'm gonna go another 20 minutes because y'all are finally laughing."
Well, he also like pulls the curtain back a little bit. You know, like those moments are cringy in wrestling if they pull the curtain back too much, and you know, kayfabe a little too much. But he would start talking about on the CD. He talks about can you edit a CD? I want to take that that part where you guys laughed and applauded, and I'm going to just put that on every joke. You know, or that joke was the same as the last joke, with different words. Don't laugh at that. Like he would say stuff like that, and be like, oh man, no, he's letting it all go.
Derek?
Oh, so I'd probably go with a lot of people have. I mean, some people have heard it, but a lot of people don't know it. But for me, a lot of the specials and stuff that I like is George Carlin's early stuff. So this is his stuff when he was clean and he was trying to be on TV, and he had those TV, and then he did AM and FM, and that's the one where he switched from going from clean to kind of doing whatever he wanted. So AM and FM is like my favorite special / comedy album. So what was the other question? That was, you said ask what the favorite special, or was that it?
Well, yeah, I just asked, you know, what was one that really stuck with you?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, because it's just so good. But that is one of that one is the AM and FM with George Carlin.
Well, I mean, with that being said, we're here at the end of the interview. Thank you guys so much for joining us up.
Oh yeah, man, I appreciate you letting us on here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, you know, hey, this is a cross promotion type thing, and you know, I appreciate Sid reaching out to me and saying like, hey, let's level up together. So before we let you guys go, Sid, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
All right, so you can find me on most social media at Sid Bridge Comedy. Anywhere Sid Bridge. I have a weird name, so you can search it. It's pretty easy. But Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Catch me there. I do. Before we go, I do want to make sure that I also mention that anybody listening to this podcast, follow Geek Night Comedy at Geek Night Comedy, Geek Night Comedy on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. If you use, when you're going to get your tickets at the Funny Bones website, if you use the promo code PONG, P-O-N-G, you'll get them 2 for $10.
Nice.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, Derek, same for you.
My socials. You just look me up very easily. I don't know what's going on here. I have no idea. Derek, 5 letters, DEREK FIVELETTERS. If you type that, Google that, you'll find my socials, my Instagram, my Facebook, and all that good stuff. Twitter, maybe. I don't know, but I don't do socials that much. I don't give a shit. Oh, there's my one.
Well, I mean, you can say shit.
Is that the one? Oh, I can say shit? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you can say it.
But I can say fuck once, though, right?
Right. Right.
I mean, well, we try to keep it at one minimum because we had a guest up here.
One
recently.
Total minimum, or
one total, and she was just letting it go
for the whole show.
Try what she said.
So you can bleep mine out, though, right?
She She said that for it 5 times, so I'm sure it's okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
But yeah, guys, again, thank you so much for joining us, Trav. Let them know where they can find you at in social media land.
Yeah, I'm on the Instagram at ZK Audio, and I'm on the Twitter at TRAVIUSZK. We're also on Letterboxd, ranking and rating my daily movie watches, man. And, they need a hero to come in. Where they going to find one?
Hey, well, before I get my socials, y'all make sure that y'all go and follow D on his Instagram at rebellious__D23, and send them a message and be like, hey, we appreciate you trying to save the world and stop that other speedster that's out there. But if you want to follow me, your hero Benjamin Banks, it is at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram, and then on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. Thank you all again for watching this interview. Please make sure that you follow Sid and Derek on their social media accounts. Make sure that you follow the Geek Night Comedy. Follow all of that stuff. Hey, August 28th at 7 p.m. Your boy, the number one hero, will be there. Derek will be there. Sid will be there. We're going to be out there having a good old time. And make sure you check out some more interviews we have here on the channel. Check out our reviews, reaction videos. Check out our podcast. The link is down below in the description. And then we have new episodes every Tuesday. And then the video of that interview is up here on YouTube on Friday. So with that being said, keep that pinky up. Stay positive. We'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Peace.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching another episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe to the channel. Podcast, we got that too. Make sure you give us a thumbs up and hit that bell for further episodes and notifications. Thanks a lot to our patrons. And if you don't mind, join the Patreon. We'll be having new specials coming up soon.